Tracey from Esther 414 Ministries with day one of the rest of your life. Today we're going to be approaching a topic that I know many people have asked themselves throughout their life. How do I know I'm where I'm supposed to be? How do I know I'm in God's will? Is basically the bottom line of that question. Well, let's go over a couple verses here and we will address that and help you out. We're going to be starting in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 1. Listen to this verse, okay? Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now I know you're thinking, how in the world does that have anything to do with where I'm supposed to be? Well, listen, okay. All right. First of all, faith stands in direct opposition almost all the time against common sense, all right? Our common sense always wants to rationalize things out. We want to figure it out. And let me tell you, you're talking the queen of rational here. I have to have an agenda, a step by step. I want to know in advance what it is I'm doing. But see, with God, a lot of times we're on the need to know basis, where he's not going to give us the next step until we absolutely need to know. Oh my goodness, this has been a trial for me almost all my life because the Lord is always pushing my faith further and further. And as he pushes your faith, you start growing closer to God, and then you start to realize walking by faith and not by sight is something that requires trust in God. This is where trusting in the Lord with all your heart comes into play. It's not just a verse. It's something that you actually have to do. You have to trust the Lord. See, there are times when God will give you a word. And I know he has given me words over the years. And I'm thinking, well, how in the world is God going to do that? Here I'm jumping right ahead to common sense. I'm trying to figure it out. But a lot of times, the way we try to figure it out, the way things we think should line up, most of the time it doesn't line up that way. It's faith. We're trusting God because he's got this whole game plan that we're not privy to. We can't see the other side of what he's got in store for us. We have to just trust that God really is omniscient, okay? That he knows everything. He's got it handled. He knows the beginning from the end. And when the timing is right, he'll fling open those doors and you'll go walking through them. And you're back to, well, how does that let me know if I'm where I'm supposed to be? Okay, when we start going through difficulties and hard times, we start asking ourselves, are we where we're really supposed to be? See, these difficulties, they start coming against us and we don't understand that God is using those times to train us up, to make us a more mature Christian, to look to him, to walk by faith, that we are going to trust him. We're not going to go bouncing back to common sense and saying, well, because this is all happening, I must not be in the right place. And this is just, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I want you to remember this. Isaiah 55, verse 8, it says this, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are my ways your ways, declares the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways." God is specifically telling us right here in his word that we're not thinking the same way he's thinking. So how can we even imagine or dream that we could figure it out through common sense? There's no way. Our thoughts aren't like his. He's so much higher than we are. We cannot put ourselves on the same plane as God. And I know many of us say, well, I'm not doing that. But by trying to figure it out, by trying to use common sense, that's exactly what we're doing. We have to realize if we can figure things out, it's probably not God's ways. He probably has a whole different plan that we can't even figure out, that we never even conjured up in our wildest dreams or imaginations. He has so much more for you, but there are times when he's taking you through those rough things to get off the rough edges out of you, to mature you, to develop you, and to make you trust him, to realize, wow, I can trust the Lord. My faith has just grown abundantly because he brought me through these hard times. Let me ask you a question. Do you not believe that God could communicate to you that you're going the wrong direction or you're not where you need to be, do you not think that he could let you know through some way that because he is omnipotent, meaning he's all powerful, and since he does know all things, he knows what plan he has for you, he can relay to you what it is you need to do, even if you are in sin. Because see, he is all powerful. And I'll have to testify right here. I know there have been times in my own life that I wasn't where I needed to be with the Lord, but yet God in his grace, his mercy, reached out and allowed me to know, or created circumstances so I would get to where I needed to be where he had his perfect will for me. I want you to remember this. Psalm 119, it tells us that the Lord's word, he is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. What does that mean? That means he will give you that next step when you need that next step. He can direct your path. He can let you know he is the God of the universe. He is a sovereign God. He can direct you without you even realizing it. He is so amazing. He wants the best for you. And remember this, the hardest place to be is in God's waiting room. That's waiting on his perfect timing. Because then we start asking, am I where I'm supposed to be? We start going back and forth. We start using that common sense. We start questioning that word that the Lord gave us. And we want to rationalize it out and figure how we're going to do this or do that. Don't do that. Okay? Just rest in the Lord, trust him, and he will direct your paths. You will always be restless until you're resting in Christ. This has been Tracey from Esther 414 Ministries with day one of the rest of your life.